Hello, good day. How are you? I hope you're good and we're ready for today's lesson. Today in mathematics, we are going to be looking at squares and square roots. Squares and square roots. We are going to know the meaning of squares and square roots and know how to solve our squares and square roots, okay? So I hope we're with our book and our pen to get into today's lesson. Good. First of all, we are going to know the meaning of squares. What do we mean by squares? Squares in mathematics, a square refers to the result of multiplying a number by itself. It represents using exponent of 2. For example, 4 squared. When we say 4 squared, it is 4 raised to power 2. Which is also 4 times 2 equals to 16. When we mean 4 raised to power 2, it means 4 2 times, which is 4 times 2. 4 in 2 places, which is 4 times 2, equals to 16. When you multiply 4 times 4, it will give you 16. Okay? So squares involve multiplying a number by itself. Okay? We have when we have the number 4 raised to power 2 or 4 squared, it means 4 raised to power 2, which is 4 times 4, which means 4 in 2 places, okay? 4 times 4, which will give us 16. I hope we understand. We're going to be looking at more examples to help us understand this better, okay? We are ready, right? Good. Now we have examples of squares. We have here 2 raised to power 2 or 2 squared. You can say 2 raised to power 2 or 2 squared. What does it mean? 2 in 2 places, which is 2 times 2. And it's going to give us what? 4. 2 times 2 will give us 4. So 2 raised to power 2 or 2 squared is equals to 2 times 2, 4. We have here 3 raised to power 2 or 3 squared. What we mean by 3 squared or 3 raised to power 2, it means 3 in 2 places, okay, which is 3 times 3. And when we multiply 3 times 3, it will give us 9, okay? Remember, squares involve multiplying a number by itself, okay? Here we have 4 raised to power 2 or 4 squared. When we say 4 squared or 4 raised to power 2, it means 4 in 2 places, which is 4 times 4. And when you multiply 4 times 4, it will give you what? 16. Okay? I hope we got that. We have here 5 raised to power 2. 5 raised to power 2 means 5 in 2 places, right? Or 5 squared means 5 in 2 places, which is 5 times 5. And when you multiply 5 times 5, what is it going to give you? 25. Okay? I hope you understood that. Here we are seeing a different number here. We have minus 4 raised to power 2 or minus 4 squared. It's still the same thing as minus 4 times minus 4. Okay? And it will give us what? 16. Why is there no minus here? It's because when squaring a negative number, it results to a positive number also. When we say minus times minus, it will give us what? Plus. So it evolves into a positive number, okay? So 4 squared minus 4 squared or minus 4 raised to power 2 is equals to minus 4 times minus 4 is still 16. There is no minus 16, okay? When multiplying a negative number, it gives you a positive. Do you understand that? Now we have here minus 5 squared or minus 5 raised to power 2 is equals to minus 5 times minus 5. Remember, when multiplying a negative number, it gives you what? A positive number. So minus 5 squared or minus 5 raised to power 2 is equals to minus 5 times minus 5, it gives us 25. And why is there no minus in the 25 is because when multiplying a negative number, it gives us, or it results to, a positive number. Okay, do we understand that? Good. Now we have known how, or what we mean by squares. Squares, it says it's when you multiply a number by itself, and we have done that. We have done 2 raised to power 2, or 2 squared, 3 raised to power 2, like that, till we got to minus 5 raised to power 2, which we did also. So I hope you understood this lesson of squares. Okay, good. Now we're going to be moving over to knowing the meaning of square roots. What do we mean by square roots? Square roots. The square root of a number is the value that, when multiplied by itself, results in the original number. Square root is represented by this symbol. This symbol is called square root. Square root involves finding the number that, when multiplied by itself, equals a given value. Okay, to find the square root of a number, you have to look for that number that, when it multiplies itself, it will give you the given number of what you are looking for. Do we understand that? We are going to be looking at some examples to know more about square roots. Okay, let's go over to some examples to know more about square roots. We have here example of square root. We have square root of 4. Remember, this sign is called square root. This sign is called square root. So the square root of 4, we say, is 2. How did we get our 2? Because 2 times 2 will give us 4. Remember, we say this, the meaning of square root is involve finding a number that, when multiply itself, it will give us our given number, our original number. Here our original number is 4, and we are looking for a number that, when it multiply itself, it will give us 4. So the square root of 4 is 2, because if 2 multiply itself, it will give us 4. Okay, the square root of 9 is 3. It's the same. If 3 multiply itself, it will give us 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is going to give us 9. Okay, the square root of 16 is 4. How did we know the square root of 16 is 4? Is because when we multiply 4 times 4, it will give us 16. Remember, we said square root is when you multiply two numbers by itself. You multiply a number by itself, and it will give you the original number. So if we multiply 4 times 4, it will give us 16. And we have 25. The square root of 25, we have to look for the square root of 25. It's 5. We say 5 times 5 will give us 25. Okay, we have the square root of 36. How are we going to know the square root of 36? We say it's 6. It's because when you multiply 6 2 times, it will give you 36. 6 times 6 is 36. Remember, square root is when you multiply a number by itself, and it will give you that number. Just like we did in here, is 2 times 4 will give you 4. We multiply 2 by itself, and it gave us 4. So these are the square roots of 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. These are the square roots. These are the numbers that, when it multiplies itself, it will give you these square roots. Okay, now we're going to go over to another example. Here we'll find the factors of the square root of this number. Okay, if this is 225, we have to find the factors of the square root of this number. How are we going to do it? We are going to use the divisible method. We are going to write 225 and divide it by 3. 2 cannot divide 225, there will be a remainder, so we use 3. And 3 divided by 225, it will give us 75. Okay, and 3 divided by 75, it will give us 25. And 3 cannot divide 25 because there will be a remainder, so we'll move over to the next prime number, which is 5. When 5 divides 25, it will give you 5. And when 5 divides 5, it will give you 1. So the squares is equals to 3 raised to power 2, which is 3 times 3, and 5 raised to power 2, which is 5 times 5. So we say the square root of 225 is 3 times 5. Now this raised to power 2, we have changed it to the square root. Okay, so if we say 3 times 5, it will give us 15. Now 15 times 15 will give us 225. So the square root of 225 is 15. How did we get this 15? We first of all look for the factors of 225 to make it easier for us. And when we did that, when we looked for the factors, we got 3 times 5. And when we did 3 times 5, it is 15. So when we multiplied 15 by itself, it gave us 225. So these are the factors of 225, and this is the square of 225 square roots. Okay, because if we multiply 15 times 15, it will give us 25. Do we understand? So 15 raised to power 2 is 15 times 15 equals to 25. So this is the square, 15 raised to power 2, and the square root of 225 is 15. I hope we understood that. We did, right? Good. So we're going to go to the next example we have. We are to find the factors of this number. We have 484 here. We'll first of all find the factor. Then when we get the factor, we'll multiply the factor and we'll get our square of 484. That when we multiply it, it will give us 484. Okay, so first of all, we're going to write out the number 484 and 2 into 484, it will give us 242, and 2 into 242, it will give us 121. The next number that can divide 121 is 11. So we say 11 divided by 121 is 11, because 11 times 11 will give you 121. So we say 11 divided by 121 is 11, and 11 divided by 11 is 1. So the squares of 484 is 2 raised to power 2 and 11 raised to power 2. So write out our square root of 484 is equals to 2 times 11. Okay, and 2 times 11 will have 22. Did we get that? So if we say 2 raised to power 2 and we multiply 2 times 2, it will give us 484. So the factors of this square is 2 times 11, which it gave us 22. So the 22 raised to power 2, which is the square, if we multiply it by itself, it will give us 482. So the square root of 484 is 22. Sorry for the mistake. The square root of 484 is 22, because when you multiply 22 by itself, it will give you 484. Okay, did we get that? I hope we did. We understood this exercise, right? We have to remember squares involves multiplying a number by itself. Okay, when you multiply two numbers by itself, and square roots involve finding the number that when multiplied by itself, it equals to a given value, which is it equals to the original number. Just like we have here, 22 times 22 will give us 484. Okay, and the square 22 squared, or 22 raised to power 2, means 22 times 2, right? I hope you understood this. We understood the examples we did, right? So we're going to do some exercise referring to our previous examples. Okay, we have here the assignments you are meant to do. Find the square of this number. You have to find the square of 7 raised to power 2, or 7 squared. You can use the previous example which we did as a referral. Okay, and here we have minus 6 raised to power 2. Sorry for the mistake. Minus 6 raised to power 2. You have to use the previous example. Same with this one. Find by the factors the square root of these numbers. use finding the factors to get the square root. You have to find the factors first before you get the square root, just like we did in the previous one.